Hi guys, this is lesson 2 in unit 3. We're going to talk about parameters of linear equations. The parameters of linear equation in the slope y-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, are the slope, which is also called the rate of change, which is basically the difference in y over the difference in x. That's what it means, the difference in y, difference over the difference in x. And the second parameter is the y-intercept, or the initial value, which is b. So basically we have two parameters. The first one is called m, and the y equals mx plus b, or it's called the slope. It's called also the rate of change. We're going to talk about the rate of change when we talk about functions, and it's equal to the difference in y over to the difference in x. The second parameter is b, which is also called the initial intercept, and it's also called the initial value. We're going to talk about the initial value when we talk about linear functions later in Unit 5. And for an example, as y equals negative 3x plus 4, the slope or the rate of change is negative 3, and 4 is the y-intercept or initial value. Now let's take a look at how we can find the parameters of a linear equation represented by a graph. So we have a graph of a line here, and we're trying to find the slope and the y-intercept. So the first thing that I'm going to try and find is the y-intercept, because it's easy to find. It's just where the line crosses the y-axis, which is this point right here. And this point is 0, 7. So the y-intercept, or b, in this linear equation is equal 7. And then the slope. And to find the slope on a graph, we need to use the formula rise over run. Rise is how high the graph or the line goes from one point to the next, and the run is the difference in the y values going from one point to the next. So to find the rise over run, I need 2 points on the line, and it's always helpful to choose 2 nice points on the grid that you can use to find the rise over run. So to find the rise, all I need to do is to find the difference in height between these 2 points, and in this case it's 3 units, and I'm gonna represent that by a positive 3 because I went up on the axis. And then to find the run, I need to go from where I stopped before horizontally, which means I'm going 1 point to the left. And since I went to the left and not right, I'm going to represent the run by -1. So my slope for this linear equation is -3, because 3 over -1 is basically -3. So to write the linear equation for this line, all I need to do is to put the equation in the y equals mx plus b, which is y equals -3x plus 7. Now we're going to find out how we can find the parameters of a linear equation from a table. So again, we're going to try and find out m and b that belongs to the linear equation y equals mx plus b. So let's go ahead and find the y-intercept, which is the point that has an x-coordinate of 0, and in this table, as you can see, this is the point that has an x-coordinate of 0. The y value for this point is 1, which means that the y-intercept, or b, in the equation is 1. Now we're going to find the slope. Again, we said that the slope is the difference in y over the difference in x. And to find the difference in y, I'm going to have to choose any 2 points in the table. Any 2 points. It doesn't matter what 2 points you choose. And you'll find the difference in y and the difference in x for these 2 points. So in this example, I'm going to use the first 2 points. So I'm going to try and find out the difference in y, which is in this case 1 minus negative 1. And 1 minus negative 1 in this case is 2. I'm going to go ahead and find the difference in x. So I'm going to stick to the same 2 points. The difference in x is 0 minus negative 1. And in this case, 0 minus negative 1, it's just 1. So I end up with the difference in y, which is 2, over the difference in x, which is 1. That means that my slope, or m value, is just 2. Now, that means I can write the linear equation for this line now, and the linear equation for this line now is going to be y equals m, which is in this case it's 2x, and then b, which is 1. So the equation is y equals 2x plus 1. Again, my equation equals y equals 2x plus 1. 2 is the slope, and 1 is the y-intercept. Now, let's take a look at how we can find the parameters from a word problem. Let's take a look at the first example. We have the cost of renting a car for 1 day is $34 plus 25 cents per mile. Let x represent the number of miles the car was driven, and let y represent the rental cost in dollars for a day. Identify the parameters and write a linear equation that represents this scenario. So in this problem, we have 2 things. X represent the number of miles, and y represent the rental cost in dollars. So since I'm going to write a linear equation for this problem, I know that I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b, and I have to find m, and I have to find b. So I know that m is the rate of change, or the slope, and in this case we have 25 cents per mile, and this is the rate that we have here. We have the cost, which is the difference in y, per, which is division, or over the difference in mile, which is the x. So in this word problem, the slope, or m, is $0.25. And we know that b is the initial value. And the initial value in this problem is that we have to pay $34 for renting the car for 1 day. So this is like an initial fees that we have to pay for the first day, which is 34. So that means that the linear equation for this problem is y equals 0.25x plus 34, where 0.25 represent the rate for cost per mile, and then $34 is the initial fee that we have to pay.